It's a little slick right over there. You hit a little patch that they have in the track over there, a black streak. You can see it occasionally. It's like tar. Every now and then you'll hit that and the car will take off. You've got a lift. Somebody's around you. They always have a chance of running over you.
And, Darrell, that's really the only, you might say, 90-degree corner. You're carrying so much speed, you just run out of racetrack as you go up on the straightaway.
Of the cars involved in the lap 1 accident, Robbie Gordon and Rusty Wallace running 1 lap down. Matt Kenseth is 7 laps back. And in the garage, Travis Quaffle, Bobby Labonte, Shane Meal, and Jeff Gordon.
Well, we keep wondering when Casey Kane is going to break out of the slump that he started this year with and get back to the form he had last year. Right now, I think he'd probably be tickled to death to run second like he did 4 times last year. He's in 4th place right now.
Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, I think he had a tire going down. He's back on pit road. Right now, he is 6 laps down, about to go 7.
Boy, what a miserable day. A track this fast in a car that's not driving right, it will wear you out.
Now, in qualifying, we were seeing upwards of 199 entering the corner. Telemetry on Casey Kane showed 194 under race conditions.
And that's still awfully fast because we're 12 laps into this run, and we know the cars will not run as fast today in race trim as they will in qualifying trim because you have a lot of things open, like front end open, to cool the radiator and oil cooler.
See the 2 different lines here. The 12 car, it gets off of turn 4 a lot better than the 01 because you got a little freer line off of there. The car launches off the corner a lot better than it does if you're on the bottom. Watch the difference in these 2 cars. 01 can pull up in the corner, but then the 12's got the better line off the corner for speed, gives him good straightaway speed.
This is a battle for 5th position right now. Not surprised to see Joe Nemechek in that 01 running so good. I know this is a different racetrack from Fontana, but this is the same car where he was so strong about 3 weeks ago out there before the engine expired.
Greg Biffle, Casey Kane, 3rd place going off into turn 1.
Seeing the same thing with these 2 guys right here. Casey Kane in the 9. That's where he ran the Busch race yesterday, right up against the wall. Greg Biffle right around the bottom.
Joe Nemechek carrying Morissette's paint job this week and sponsor. Gets past pole sitter Ryan Newman. That changes 5th place. So we'll get a green flag run here at 15 laps complete this time by Jimmy Johnson leading Carl Edwards by half a second. Mark Martin moves up on Ryan Newman, who continues to drop back. That is 8th place. Here's Matt.
One of the racetracks where this 12 team tested right here in Atlanta, felt comfortable coming into today's race, but Ryan says the car is just really tight and getting tighter, just trying to hold on, settling in by himself, hoping for a caution soon to fix this race car on pit road.
Well, Matt, that puts a period in what DW has been talking about. I think to run fast around here qualifying, you have to have your car a little bit snug, but you know for the race, you need to free it up, and a lot of cars were loose the other night, and that's cars that are running pretty good right now. See Tony Stewart in the 20 car right there. This is going to be a battle. When he catches Ryan Newman in the 12, this will be a battle for ninth. So Ryan is about to fall out of the top 10. But I'm going to tell you, the car, one of our biggest movers is Michael Waltrip in the 15 car. He started back in 37th. He's in 11th, working, trying to get in the top 10. 2 things. Michael won the Busch race yesterday. He ran in it. And also, his race team is the team that won this race a year ago with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And I talked to Michael this morning. He was very optimistic. Tony Jr. said, don't worry, dude. We got the right setup in the car. You'll be good in the race. And, you know, looks like he's pretty close.
For more, here's Matt.
He's got the right setup, and he also has the right race car. This is the same car that Dale Earnhardt Jr. won with here 1 year ago. Michael hasn't said a lot on the radio. The car really to his liking, and it shows. Huge, huge climb. Meanwhile, his teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr., much like he was in practice, much like he was in qualifying, loose all the way around this racetrack.
Well, if you were watching qualifying and you knew when you got out of that car, that's the car you had to start the race in today, I would have not slept very well for a couple of nights. That thing was evil.
Ryan Newman in the 12 just lost 2 positions to Tony Stewart in the orange 20 and to Michael Waltrip in the 15.
Well, Newman has 5 straight poles here, but his average finish at this track is 14th. Here's Michael going after Tony Stewart.
Got him.
9th place.
And you know the most unusual thing about Michael Waltrip, Darrell, we talk about it all the time. We go to a racetrack where you rim ride. You run at the top of the racetrack. Michael Waltrip's the first one, but he's running right around the bottom of the racetrack as he is here in 3 and 4.
So you know what that tells me? Maybe it's not Michael, because that car last year rode around the bottom here when Dale Jr. drove it. So has a lot to do with setup.
Now, speaking of DEI, we're riding with the other side of the spectrum, Dale Earnhardt Jr. You hear him telling his crew chief, Pete Rundo, I'm real loose in the corner. And you can go nowhere loose in the corner because it messes the whole corner up. Remember, he started in 35th. He's 29th, but he's only about 7 or 8 seconds from being lapped by our leader, Jimmy Johnson.
And he's not the only one in dire straits. Rusty Wallace only about 5.5 seconds from going a lap down to the leaders.
I think Rusty got taken by surprise. Looked like they came on pit road and didn't realize they had as much damage to the left side of the car as he actually had.
NASCAR's brightest new star, Carl Edwards, won here yesterday from the pole, did a backflip at the start-finish line. At the finish, is he on a roll, Steve?
He sure is, Mike, and he's got an important family tie in this sport. His father and Nextel Cup veteran Kenny Schrader are cousins. When Carl was 16, he moved from Missouri to Concord, North Carolina to work as a volunteer in Kenny Schrader's shop. Carl told me this morning it was an entire month before Schrader sat him down and said, son, what is it that you want to do here? He said, well, Schrader, I'm here to drive your ARCA car. Schrader said, you absolutely are not. You're going to go back to Missouri. You're going to beg somebody to drive a dirt car, and that's where you're going to get experience. Well, Carl said he wasn't very happy about it at the time, but that's what he did. He went back to Missouri, got in a dirt car. 3 years later, there was a big race in Moberly, Missouri. Kenny Schrader was there. Danny Lasowski was there. Carl Edwards beat them all. And that was a big turning point in his racing career. He gives Kenny Schrader a lot of credit. Jeannie?
Well, Joe Nemechek came into 2005 telling everyone he really had to curb his enthusiasm because he was so excited about the season. We talked about it in pre-race, some of the mishaps that have happened. In football terms, Joe said we have had flashes of a great offense, but have had too many turnovers. We squandered a couple of great opportunities, but this is a resilient team, and we are going to bounce back. Right now, he's bouncing around a little too tight from the middle of the turns off. Can't wait for the pit stop to make the adjustments. Matt?
Halfway through this run the last time by, that's what Tommy Baldwin told his driver Casey Kane. Casey said, what was my lap time the last time by? I changed up my line down in 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 just to see if it would help. Tommy told him the time. He says, all right, I'll try something else. The car a little on the tight side, but Tommy says that's a lot better than being loose.
Another fellow who usually runs well here at Atlanta, in fact, almost won a race here at Atlanta, is Dave Blaney. And he's having a good day.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be carrying the Richard Childress banner because he started back in 27th, and now he's in the top 10 in that 07 car in 10th. But how about the car right behind him? Kurt Buschton, the 97 car, our current champion. He restarted this race back on lap 5, back in 35th position, and he's up to 11th. This team right here is one of the reasons I keep getting on my high horse saying, if NASCAR is not a team sport, there's never been a team sport. Remember, during that red flag, he was on pit road with the left front completely torn up. Remember what this team did in those final 10 races, repairing fenders and responding to problems this team had. There he is, knocking on the door of the top 10.
10 finishes in the last 11 races last year. But Dick Berggren, how about Dave Blaney in that Snap-on Chevy?
Yeah, he's having a pretty decent day, Mike, but he called to his crew and told them on the radio that the car is tight everywhere. And I certainly think that, yeah, Busch is going by him right now, but I certainly think that he must love this place because back in March 01, he led 70 laps, looked as if he was going to win the race before a hub failed and he had to go to the pits. To Matt.
Dick, Atlanta was the only race in the chase last fall that the 97 team did not score a top 10 finish. They feel like they have caught a huge break. Kurt said the toe was fine, the steering wheel was straight. they made the changes to that left front corner, putting a piece of aluminum right below the headlight area to try to piece together the broken sheet metal there at the seams. And right now, he says the car, very good. You can see him hugging the bottom, trying to chase down the 15 of Michael Waltrip.